for those that are watching on the Twitch and listening, we have the Chiefs Broncos game on behind me. So Clint will be formally disengaged
for another minute. 54 seconds.
How long is the game?
54 seconds, but we're
really
tied.
54
so
seconds.
I don't know if we. Man, I feel like we're a little loud. I'm gonna crank us down a little bit.
Yeah, it's really loud in my ears, but I just thought it was me. Yeah, that's better. That's better.
There you go.
That's better.
That's better. Calm it down a little bit.
Yeah, it was super hot.
I think my kids played with the Roadcaster after I put it up after last week.
That's okay.
It's got lots of lights on it. It's cool.
So does your computer.
I know.
Was that intentional?
No.
You don't seem like the lights on the bottom of your computer guy.
No, and the keyboard's lit up. No, not me.
I mean, I wasn't judging.
You should.
I wasn't judging. I was just curious. You're going to have to give me a play-by-play because I can't see it.
No, I just completed a pass all the way down to the 20.
Oh, no.
So they could at least kick a field goal, and they have 43 left.
That's plenty of time for Mahomes.
KC only has one timeout left, though.
What are you smoking tonight? I thought I saw.
What's a new one? Went to the cigar shop and got my usuals and picked out a couple ones I hadn't had before.
So this is one from a friend of the show, Tracy. It's called an Estate Selection Vintage Perdermo. It's got the black band on it. I may not let you keep this one. I like the band.
That's pretty.
Yeah. Put it in my camera there for everybody to see. Yeah, it's a good. I'm sure it's going to be a great. Yeah, I like Perdermo, so anything that's vintage.
I've got an Undercrown Shade.
I like those. I smoked a cigar this afternoon, by the way.
Number 2 for the day.
It was Olivier Series O. I was avoiding a football as it was flying at me, so.
While you're smoking the cigar?
While I was smoking the cigar, yeah.
I got some feedback. In the past week, it's crazy how sometimes you hear the same thing, but we talked about the lighter noise.
Yeah.
3 different people told me it was like, yeah, it's a lot.
I don't mind it.
I know. I don't really either, but it's also, I don't know, in my ears. But 3 different ones. It was crazy. And one of those is about my audio engineer friend in Nashville. And I was like, oh, well. When the other 2 said it, I was like, whatever. When he said it, I was like, okay, yeah, probably something to that. You do this for a job.
It's okay.
But also, it's the torch. Like, this bad boy makes some noise. This is actually my whiskey smoking torch. So if I use my actual cigar lighter, it's not as bad.
Okay, so I found that I have a 1, what are these things? Torch. So this one has 3 on it. But I know yours, your lighter of choice has 1, right? That's just a 1?
No, this is 3.
It has 3?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I kind of like 1 better. It seems to be more even and doesn't get them as hot.
This one lights up a little bit more like a Zippo. It's not like a torchy flame. It's
Doesn't have the soft flame though, right?
Oh, they won. Field goal 0-0-0.
So where does that put the Chiefs? Are they out? 5-5?
They won't. It would be very hard when Denver's now 9-2.
Are they in the same division?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's going to be tough.
It'll be the first time in Patrick Mahomes' career he's not in the AFC Championship game. First time since he's been in the NFL.
Ever?
Ever.
Oh. I don't think I knew that.
9 straight. This would have been 10. But you know what? Tom Brady wasn't in the NFC Championship game every single year he played. AFCSR. So
I know what you meant.
Yeah. Did I say AFC or NFC?
I don't know. I heard NFC, but you may have said AFC.
And Mahomes is the first to 3 Super Bowls by 30. So he's all right. He'll be okay. It's just not our year.
it's apparently not our year for any Dallas sports and other sports fans.
I don't want to say this on camera, but I got to tell you something about this cigar after we quit recording.
Okay.
I can't think of a way to say it on camera that's not going to get clipped and soundbited. Just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
I might need your punch. This thing's like tight.
I'll have to get it if you. Oh, I got one on the
It's
bottom.
fine.
I do have one on the bottom. I have one on the bottom of my lighter if you need it. I have my blade thing in there too. My cigar poker. So Nico Harrison got fired. Brother, I don't know. I don't know. In the year that we've done this, I don't know that I have been more excited about coming in and talking about sports than today.
Thank you for that. I'm one of those where when big things happen that we talk about in the news and in current events, you know, sometimes we say, man, I'm glad like we didn't talk about this as soon as it happened. Like I'm glad we've had a week because this happened Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning.
Yeah. It feels like to me that it feels like it happened a month ago.
Yeah.
Just in my brain.
Yeah.
You know?
It's probably because your co-host over here has been talking about it for 6 months.
But it just doesn't feel like it was just this past Tuesday. It's
yeah.
You know.
Well, so like I made a bunch of notes, and I don't know if we'll talk about all of it, but like I was listening to sports talk radio this week and just kind of taking it in from like other Mavs fans, and I was like, you know, I was trying to figure out exactly like what made me like Nico prior to this. Okay, so I was going through some things, and we have a first-time chatter on the Twitch. We're talking Mavs basketball. I don't know if you have a opinion on this, but like, so here's the trades that he made, because like that was kind of the thing for me where I was like, okay, he made some fantastic trades that really got us in the position that we were in the Western Conference Finals the year before last. So the first major trade he did was he traded Kristaps Porzingis to the Wizards. Now that's debatable on what that was, but it wasn't working out with him and Luka. It just wasn't.
Yeah.
There was various reasons why. The return was you got Dallas Bertans and Spencer Dinwiddie, and then like those were both salary that they took on to replace salary. They were never going to be, you know, Bertans was a D&3 type guy. Spencer Dinwiddie is the same thing, right? To play around Luka. The next thing is the Kyrie trade, where from the Nets you get Dorian Finney-Smith, you got him from the Nets, and you sent Finney-Smith, Spencer Dinwiddie, and a first-round pick. Okay, that was to help Luka, right? Because we needed a point guard, a second ball handler on the court. Okay, you traded away Luka's friend, Spencer Dinwiddie, or Dorian Finney-Smith, and you traded away a first-round pick. Okay, the next major move he made, which again I agreed at the time with that move. The next move he made was he drafted Derek Lively, and there was a trade on draft night. Again, I loved that move. Mm-hmm. You're getting a rim runner, a lob pick and roll threat for Luka. Okay, then the next deadline trade,
and he had a great 2 years ago in the championship.
Yeah, he was a Duke guy.
He had a great postseason run with the Mavs whenever they lost to the Celtics.
Right, and so then before that even happens,
that was his rookie year 2 years ago.
That was no. Well, when he was
Lively,
he's in his third season right now. So the rookie year was his first year where he had
and that's when they went to the championship.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, so then on that same year, okay, where we went to the finals, which was 23-24 finals, lose to the Celtics, we traded right before the trade deadline for P.J. Washington and Daniel Gafford, both phenomenal players, both coming from losing teams, coming into a winning organization. Both of them fit with Luka perfectly. Okay, perfectly. Then the next trade he makes is Luka to the Lakers for AD. And I just can't, like, of all the trades that you've made going forward, it all centered around Luka. Mm-hmm. All of them. And trying to benefit the best way that we could help Luka progress in his game. Okay, putting guys around him that really helped him.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you take a sharp left turn. And it just didn't make any sense at all. Okay. And so, like, the thing about it that had bothered me the most is, like in most sports, I mean, you've been around even little kid sports, okay, with your own kids. The mental side of the sport is just as important as the physical and the talent portion, okay? And Nico had become a distraction, okay? Several of the players had come out and said, like, we don't even feel like we're at home, right? Because if it's a close game in the fourth quarter, we go up to the free throw line and the crowd is silent, and then all you hear is fire, Nico.
Yeah.
And it had become a distraction. And that's what caused them to lose the game against the Bucks a couple of weeks ago. Like, PJ Washington's going up to win the game, to tie the game. It was a 3-point shot to potentially go up by 1. The first shot he makes, the second shot, the crowd goes silent, start hearing fire Nico, and he misses. Okay? And then he misses the third one, and they lose by 1 or 2. And it's like, you and I both know for a fact that whether PJ Washington will ever admit it, that played an effect on him.
Mm-hmm.
Because, man, like, we're supposed to be at home. This is supposed to be home court advantage. And it's like, we can't even have home court advantage. Okay? And so then, like, on top of all of this, okay, it didn't matter whether they were winning or they were losing from the moment the trade happened. It was fire Nico. They could have been winning by 30, fire Nico.
Yeah.
They could be losing by 30, fire Nico.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it's almost as if, and again, nobody has said this publicly, and it'll be years until we see this. And Luka's really the only one that has said this, is like, the players and somewhat of the coaching staff, they had lost respect for him. Because the fans obviously lost respect for him because you traded away our unicorn
and
players.
the reason a lot of people came to watch the games.
And sometimes the only reason.
Right. I mean,
the only reason.
That's what I mean. I think there's a lot of fans out there that are somewhat basketball fans, somewhat Mavs fans. But then I think there's a lot of fans out there who's like, no, I want to watch Luka play. And I started watching the Mavs, or I started watching NBA basketball because my town had Luka Doncic.
Here's the next thing.
Yeah, kids named after him.
Yeah, I have a Luka in my class right now.
Yeah, we got one down the street.
And it's like, I just don't. How could you be so ignorant? I'm not talking about ownership. I'm talking about Nico. He's supposed to be the GM of the Dallas Mavericks. Okay, and I'm talking past tense. Like, how did you come out and say, I did not realize how important Luka was to the Mavericks and to the fan base?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What? And so it was like, I then there was a report that came out today that said, well, you know, after Jordan lost his championship, he just got into the gym and worked. And the same with Kobe, and the same with LeBron.
Yeah.
They got it. But like, what they don't understand is those guys are not foreign players.
Right.
Okay. Those guys don't have the weight of Slovenia weighing on them to go play in these foreign championship in the EuroLeague. Right. In the year of the finals, he had played that summer before in the Slovenian championships. Okay.
Right.
So his legs were just tired.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not making excuses for the guy, because ultimately you still got to come back and earn your paycheck. But at the same time, like, you have to take those things in consideration. So we have a clip. This is the other thing that irked me. And I think this is not only, there's multiple reasons for this, but I think the next reason is the Mavericks have sold out AAC for 20 plus years. And this is Jay Kidd talking about the Fire Nico chants in Dallas at the games. By the way, Jason Kidd is the former player, Mav great, NBA champion for the Dallas Mavericks, and now the coach.
Jason, you guys are up by possession in the fourth quarter, and the Fire Nico chants start. How does that sort of thing affect the morale?
This is before he was fired.
Team?
Around what they shoot this year, 40% is what Milwaukee shoots on three-pointers this season, third best in the NBA.
That's a good question. I think you got to ask them that they're playing. I think it's noise. And so I would say that speaking for them, I think they just continue to keep playing. And I thought, again, we put ourselves in a position to win tonight. But that's a question that you have to ask the players because those are the ones that are playing.
In the fourth quarter, there were fire Nico chants. Does that type of thing in the fourth quarter of a close game, does that affect the morale, would you say?
It's unfortunate for sure, but, I mean, we got to play through it and everything. But, yeah, it's really unfortunate.
Here's the thing. You didn't have the coach have your back.
Yeah.
J-Kid came out, again, with his facial features of that press conference when they had it, that they had traded him, with him not coming out and defending Nico right then.
Right.
You lost the players. You lost the fans. You alienated Dirk. And then I didn't get it on the thing, but like I posted on our TikTok and on our YouTube, like Dirk talking about how he should have been fired at the beginning of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
Just so we could go into this season completely with Cooper Flag in mind. Not that Dirk is trying to eliminate what happened with Luka, right? But he's trying to get himself back into the fold, I think, along with Mark Cuban. So now, again, he was fired on Tuesday, and now it's come out that Patrick Dumont really was kind of hands-off when he first got here. They've owned the team for 2 years, okay? And really did not understand all of the things that went into this. He's a first-time team owner, okay? But also he had alienated Mark Cuban because of Nico.
Yes. Yeah.
And so now Cuban's back in the fold.
Yeah.
Apparently Dirk was in town this week meeting with the team. You know, Michael Finley's back. Him and another gentleman are the kind of stand-in GMs right now. Here's the thing. I will never, ever, ever forgive Nico for trading Luka. Never. I can't, like, as a sports fan, and sports hate is real, I can't do it.
Right.
Okay? But the thing is now, by the way, there's a message on that. I don't know if it makes any difference. But now, when we hear all the things that are coming out, it's like, oh no. Like, he really had no idea. He truly had no clue. And you traded away a first-round pick. Okay, the next major move he made, which, again, I agreed at the time with that move. The next move he made was he drafted Derek Lively, and there was a trade on draft night. Again, I love that move. You're getting a rim runner, a lob pick-and-roll threat for Luka. Okay, then the next deadline trade
And
is
he had a great...
what was happening. And after it happened, you know, here we are. He had no idea.
Yeah.
Going forward, as a Mav fan, you got to try to win with the team you have right now. Try to get AD healthy. Try to win like they're playing right now against the Trailblazers. Try to win the next couple of games. Get your momentum going back out before you head back out on the road. I mean, Cooper Flag's really good. Like, he's going to be Rookie of the Year if he stays healthy. But, like, now the organization and the ownership have to build the trust back with the players. Because now we want players to come here, but previously they wanted to come to play with Luka. And now we don't have that anymore. And so I compared it to Jerry Jones a little bit with the trade with Micah Parsons. Like, I've really thought about this a lot. And just so happens that this week came out that Jerry Jones put in a poison pill in the trade.
Yeah.
Okay. So in other words, what that means, and it's been several things that have come out about, like, Micah didn't really want to meet with Jerry anymore, and Jerry was trying. This is all public knowledge. And, like, Jerry has come out like, we did not want to trade him, but we felt like we didn't have a choice.
Right.
They didn't do it at midnight in the dark. It was very open. And say what you want about Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones sticks with his guys. He kept Zeke around too long. You know?
Oh,
He
way
kept,
too long.
He kept Dez around a year or two.
Especially
probably
ones
too
that
long.
we draft.
Yeah, and, like, he understands how important players are to the team, to the fan base, and to the city. Okay, say what you want about him. Like, he hasn't built us a championship team in over 30 years. I can agree with you on that. But I can promise you right now, there is not a soul in this Metroplex that thinks he's going to trade Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
No way.
No.
He's not going to trade CeeDee Lamb. Okay, and the only reason that he traded Micah is if they got back what they felt like they needed, which that's arguably maybe or maybe it isn't. Okay, but then the next thing is like he protected the team. He protected them. And so now what the poison pill is now they cannot trade Micah, they being the Packers, can't trade Micah to the Eagles unless they want to give the
Any
Cowboys.
NFC East team.
Yeah, is it any NFC team?
Yes.
Okay. So any NFC East team, unless they want to also give them a first-round pick.
And Kenny Clark cannot be traded to any NFC North team. So it's...
I just think that you can't compare what Nico did to what Jerry Jones did with Micah. Because ultimately,
No,
the
because
Cowboys...
Micah Parsons is not Luka Doncic either.
No, he's not. He's not.
And he's not the face of the franchise. Like, no.
Or the face of the NBA.
Right.
Like, you traded the face of the
Yeah.
NBA
Yeah.
to the Lakers.
Yeah.
That's what you traded.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I think I got it all out. That was only 12 minutes too.
What is Nico's future? Think another team will pick him up straight up as a GM, or does he have to knock down a peg or two for a team and then do like player personnel or something for a little while and then before he gets a GM job? I mean,
I don't know. I don't care.
Like the whole league has to feel like he's the dumbest GM in the league, right? To do that.
Yes, and not only that though, like it's also come out that the Lakers tried to trade AD for like way less caliber players last year, but he couldn't pass a physical.
Right.
He's going to go down. This will go down as the worst trade of all time. The worst trade. And so like a lot of people that are in Mavericks world, can you turn my earbuds up just a little bit?
Yeah.
A lot of the people in Maverick world are like, well, Cuban traded away Nash. Well, Nash was also coming off of a major back surgery and wasn't in his prime. And again, that was a looking back hindsight type of situation where, I mean, he did have 2 MVP caliber years. And, it took Dirk a long time to figure it out too. And so, like, it's just frustrating. And it would be different too if, like, it was like a Zion Williamson situation. You know who that is?
No.
Okay, Zion was the top draft pick coming out of Duke. He was a heavier set guy, plays for the Pelicans. And like they've dang near kept him around too long and now he's like over 325 pounds. He can't hardly move. Yeah, your face says it all. He's a big dude. And so like Scottie Pippen.
NBA, right? We didn't switch to NFL?
No, NBA still. No, we didn't switch to NFL. But he's the NBA guy and they're like, the Pelicans like need to trade this guy. Mm-hmm. Well, now the problem is nobody wants him. But again, you're talking about
the Cowboys might.
Yeah, we need a defensive lineman, a middle linebacker. But I just can't. I still don't know that I will ever be able to accept. Like even if it was all rigged to get the first round draft pick, right? Like that's what they said. You're drafting Cooper Flagg, who doesn't fit the team at the moment. Mm-hmm. Like, and they're going to have to completely rebuild around him.
Right.
I mean, they can still win, but it's just going to be a different way. And it's going to take Flagg 2 or 3 years to become an elite basketball player.
Right.
Fortunately, he plays in, I would argue, the best sports city ever because we just glutton for punishment and we still support.
Yeah, that's true.
Like after they fired Nico, the last 2 games have been sold out. I would be willing to bet tonight was sold out. And then
fans have answered.
AD came out and he's going to miss another 8 to 10 days today. Came out today. But they got to get him back on the court so they can get some trade value for him.
Something, yeah.
So, I digress.
Buc-ee's is in the news again.
And not a... Wait, hold on. Hold on. Did you see their opening in Indiana? Did we talk about this? Okay,
yeah.
okay. We did talk about
and
that.
And we proclaim our love for Buc-ee's on the pod often. We are Texans. Buc-ee's is from Texas. We have a Buc-ee's in our hometown.
I was there today.
We are just overwhelmingly blessed to have. Not everyone does, especially if you live in West Texas. I'm sorry, you got one in Amarillo. That's about all you get. But and I love it. But
so for those new to the pod, though, what is Buc-ee's? What is
Buc-ee's? Is a magical travel stop. They're huge. It's the size of a Walmart, but it's a travel stop.
And all that's
like it's true. It's not just a big. Like it's not like there's some big travel stops along the way. This thing's the size of a dadgum grocery store, and it just about is a grocery store and home goods. And like if you just happen to need a Yeti huge cooler while you're there, they've got those too.
They have
Of
one
course-
that you can plug in. It's a deep freeze.
Yeah,
Have you seen that?
yeah.
I almost was like, man.
And gear and like everything from my favorite couple things to get there. I love to have these like Texas cheesesteak burritos. They got good barbecue sandwiches. They
Apparently,
got-
the Twitch says they're in Virginia too.
yeah, I mean, they've gone east really well. But I love Buc-ee's. And they're known for, by the way, like the cleanest bathrooms. And the whole store is clean. If you go there at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, you'll see people mopping the sidewalk out front. Like they clean all the time. You see the guy, there's constantly one or two people walking through all the gas pumps. There'll be 200 and something gas pumps, by the way. And they're not a truck stop. They do not allow 18-wheelers. They have big signs everywhere. So you can pull in there with your RV, but no commercial 18-wheelers or anything. 200-something gas pumps, and you'll see people walking around wiping down the gas pumps all the time. Like it is a very clean, well-lit gas station. In fact, if I like to fill up my wife and my daughter's vehicles, but if they're going to get gas, like I just can't, like they're out and they need it, I tell them they always go to Buc-ee's. That is the safest
We've talked
gas
about that
station
before.
that I feel like
for sure.
for them to be at. So anyway, we love Buc-ee's, but Buc-ee's does some stupid things. And one of the stupid things they do, and this is like the third or fourth one I've heard in just the last year or 18 months, is anybody with a beaver in their logo, which is in Buc-ee's logo, they sue them. And like, this is their latest. On the right, if you don't know, is the Buc-ee's beaver. It's iconic. It's on everything. On the left is a Colorado underwear brand called Nut Huggers. Makes sense. It's a men's underwear brand. It's a good name, right? That's their logo. Buc-ee's is suing them for copyright infringement. The only similarity is that it's another beaver. Like Buc-ee's does not own the right to have a beaver in their advertising. I love you, Buc-ee's. We love you so much. We talk about you all the time. When that city in Colorado didn't want you to come to town, we were telling them you need a Buc-ee's. But there's no similarities in that logo compared, like it doesn't have a hat on or nothing. There was another gas station.
It was at Chippies. It was called Chippies.
It was something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a gas station, and the beaver had a hat on, and it was facing to the side. And I was like, okay, I can kind of see.
But it was the full body of the beaver.
It was.
And the tail.
But you can kind of see, like, okay, maybe they're trying to gain, like, glean off of the Buc-ee's popularity. Nut Huggers underwear is not no. Like, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me because, like, if it's Nut Huggers and he's holding an acorn, shouldn't that be a squirrel and not a beaver? Do beavers eat acorns?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Like, I feel
I
like
think it looks more like a chipmunk. than it does
yes, or a
beaver to me.
chipmunk. Chipmunk could be it.
It's got
Like,
long,
I don't
scraggly
even think
hair.
it's like it doesn't make sense for it to be a beaver.
I sent you that picture of them washing Buc-ee, didn't I?
I was going to say something, but I'm not going to. Just had a funny thought. The filter caught it, which is good. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, Buc-ee's quit. Y'all, like, I like you, but you and somebody else that I like a lot generally, we're going to talk about later on the podcast, have done some stupid things this week. They just, like, stop it.
When I saw this, I thought it was like a Babylon Bee type situation.
Yes.
I thought it was. And
No.
then I was like, oh, no, this is a real article.
They did it again.
Apparently, the people of Stafford, Virginia don't like it either.
Oh, really?
They did not want one there.
Did they go ahead and put it in?
No.
Oh.
Too many gas stations already is what the Twitch is saying.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter. If you don't have a Buc-ee's,
No.
then close all your other gas stations because it's the only one you need. Anyway, Buc-ee's quit. Like, no. I'm out.
I mean,
Stop.
I have a question, though.
What?
I mean, this comment may not be safe for kids, but do you have some nut hugger underwear?
I don't.
Me neither.
I do not.
Maybe I need to try some. I don't know. I wonder if we could do a comparison.
We could.
We could buy some underwear from Buc-ee's, which, by the way, you can.
You can.
And then we'll
buy
buy
some Buc-ee's boxers.
Yep. And then buy some nut hugger underwear and see which ones fit better.
Yeah.
Show
See if-
trip.
See if they're
Podcast trip.
Yeah. and then we'll wear them on the pod. I'm just kidding. No, we won't.
Well, no, I'm the only one that you could see my bottom half, so I do always have pants on. For those wondering.
Yep. All right, next question. Did you watch this?
I did.
Your thoughts, and I'll give mine.
So what's on the screen right now is what's called Death by Lightning. This is about the assassination of James Garfield, and then it's a split story between him and his assassiner, the person who kills him. First off, I thought it was very, very well done. About a president that not very many people talk about.
Yeah.
Also, I enjoyed...
Because he was president for 3 months.
Well, but also the way he became president was kind of odd.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Very, very odd way he became president. And they talk about it in the thing. So, spoiler alert, if you haven't talked about it, if you haven't watched it yet, I highly do encourage it. But he gets assassinated.
It happened in 1881. I don't think you can say spoiler alert.
I'm going to spoil it for you. He dies in the end. Okay. So the first episode, do you want to go episode by episode or just talk about it as a whole?
I'll just talk about it as a whole, but you can talk about episode by episode.
So I really liked how they showed at the very beginning how the nominations are done. We're done in 1881. I really, really liked that. I also liked how they showed the corruption that went into it as well. Those are all well documented. That's all well documented stuff that actually did happen. And so I think that by showing this, it's also opened the door on, this is kind of on the back end of this conversation, but it also opens the door for other historical narratives that need to be told.
Yes.
Like you talk a lot about the Civil War. We talk a lot about World War I. We talk a lot about World War II. Really, we don't even talk about World War I that much. But like, there's this whole 50 to 60 year gap that we don't talk about. And like the characters that they had in this movie were fantastic. I guess not a movie, it's a series. It was a four episode limited series.
Right.
I also liked how they showed the tragedy of, God, the guy who assassinated him? What's his name?
Charles Guiteau.
Charles Guiteau. Like, I liked how you just saw that arc, the story arc that went into his. Like, even if you had just, I kind of wish what they, did you watch the other one that just came out about the nuclear bomb that was sent over? How the, God.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a incoming missile and it's a reaction time.
Yes.
What is it's also on Netflix.
Yes.
But I forget what it's called.
But like how they told the story from one angle,
Yeah.
and then like 45 minutes in, they went to another angle, and now it's kind of making the connection. If they had done that with this, that would have been just as good. But
it would have been interesting.
I did understand why they didn't do that, because if you don't know who Guiteau is and you don't know who Garfield is, it's really difficult to connect those dots.
Right.
I also liked how the characters that they crossed paths with. Now my brain is gonna go. Is it W. Du Bois? No, it is. Du Bois is the one who he interacts with about slavery. Episode 2 or 3.
Yeah, W.B. Du Bois, and then also keep talking.
So, anyways, just the character arcs that they come across and that they cross paths.
Frederick Douglass
was
also in there too.
By the way, the character choice on that, fantastic.
Yes.
And so just how they interacted with each other and how Guiteau really felt like he knew Garfield and those people that he was interacting with, and really he didn't. He had convinced himself that he knew those people, and he had no idea who they were.
Yes.
And they had no idea who he was. So overall, like I always look at things like this from a historical perspective, very accurate as far as I can tell of the books that I've read and research that I've done about Garfield. I didn't know a whole lot about Guiteau until I saw this, and then I did a little research on him. But just a tragedy all the way around.
I liked it. I really love good historical documentaries that are told well. I enjoy getting background. You know, if you watch just a documentary, a lot of times it's just like, these are the facts, ma'am. You know, and it's this happened, then this happened, then this happened. This one, it goes back and forth a little bit. You back up 10 years, you come back forward a little bit. I like when someone can take a documentary, basically, and tell a good story. Something else that was notable to me that I appreciate, you know, it's not a very well-known president. He was only president for 3 months. A lot of people don't know the story through the primary of how he became president and that's a really, really cool part of the miniseries. But the cast was great. They had some heavy hitters. Like sometimes when you get these documentaries, you get just a bunch of people who really can't act and maybe like one who's a veteran actor, right? But Michael Shannon, who like 12 Strong, he's been in a few. You would know him if you look him up. You can't tell as much who he is because he plays Garfield. He's got the beard. You can't really see who that is, but you'll know the actor if you look him up. He's been in a lot of things. Plays Garfield, and then Matthew McFadden plays Charles Guiteau. And if you watched Succession, he is Shiv's husband in Succession.
Yes.
He is an amazing actor. I've seen him in a few other things, and I'm glad to see him doing other stuff because he was a great actor. You had Nick Offerman playing Chester Arthur. That was a great character.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of Bradley Whitford, being a West Wing fan, plays Senator James Blaine from Maine. James Blaine from Maine.
Yep. And those characters, too, like, we forget how important those people are in the government.
Yes. Well, and just like right now, we're living through current politics, and there are certain congressmen, certain senators, certain governors that are key players in our political discourse today. And that was the same case back in history, 150 years ago when this was happening. But those names are kind of lost a little bit. We know Garfield's name because he's one of the presidents,
Agreed.
But honestly, would we know him if he didn't win in that primary? No, I'm sorry, in that convention. He didn't win a primary. He won in the convention, and then Chester Arthur, as a compromise for a VP pick who's a nobody, a port tax collector in New York. But as a compromise to New York, which they need all their electoral votes and need their delegates for the convention, he gets put on there by Conklin, a New York senator, as VP. And then Garfield dies, and this port collector from New York is now the president of the United States. And Conklin, because of the shadiness that he did, disappears from politics altogether, after that fact. And so that's just really interesting. Like, the name of Chester Arthur. Because he's a president. You may know he was a one-term president, but he basically continued Garfield's term and then didn't run again. And yes, it's really they told the story well. I think they hit the important points. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it. It's a four episode miniseries,
but it's not an overly long 4 episodes. Like each one is a little less than an hour, maybe.
Right.
2 things that stuck out really big.
I binged it.
I got tired.
Once I
watched
started
2
watching
episodes at a time.
Yeah.
So 2 things that stuck out for me the most. One is when he shot in New York. Okay, and they take him into that back room.
Yep.
And the African American doctor is telling him, "Hey, you need to sterilize your stuff. You need to sterilize your stuff." And come to find out, he was right.
He was right.
And again, this is all documented things. This is not. Mm-hmm. This isn't like in today's society, we would say, well, that was just there for that. No. That's actually what happened.
Right.
Okay. The second thing that I kind of took away is when they put Guiteau in the car or in the stagecoach kind of police car, and his comment said, "I've just changed the course of history."
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it was the way he intended it to.
Yeah.
Like, he had no idea about what Chester had, the reason why Chester was even the VP. He had no idea who Garfield really was and what he was trying to do, and the internal battles within his own cabinet that were happening. I mean, heck, he almost lost the presidency just in the first month because he didn't have any support from anyone.
Right.
So it was just kind of crazy how that story. They did a very good. I don't know who the producer of this or the executive producer was, but it was fantastic.
I don't know, but
and even if you're not into like politics,
mm-hmm.
it's a great story.
That's what I mean. You would enjoy it.
The only thing that I got to say though is I hate when they do these things and there's just graphic nudity.
Yeah.
I can't edit that out and show that at school. Like, I would love for my kids to watch this.
Yeah.
Because it's a great story. There's a lot of things that you can show.
And I feel like that.
Like, sometimes it's just not necessary.
I don't know where the nudity comes in is that Charles Guiteau lives for a time in a free love colony up in upstate New York.
Right.
and they show him at that free love colony, and then a couple of the scenes of what goes on at a free love colony and back in the late 19th century, which I knew nothing about. I feel like, I don't know, it felt unnecessary. They already made him out to be a little bit crazy without having to show that.
Well, he was, though.
He was.
He was crazy.
Right. They connected the dots that he's a crazy person without having to show the time he spent up at the free love clinic, the free love colony.
Yeah, I agree with
and
you.
like,
on
if
that.
they could just cut that out, then like you say, I could be like, hey kids, you know, you could timestamp it and cut it if you wanted to.
But then you forget about it and you're showing it in class, and then that's what pops up on the screen, and you're in trouble.
Whoopsie daisy.
You're in trouble. Okay, the second. This is, by the way, we are not a Netflix show reviewing podcast, but these two things have come up in the last 2 days. So, I'm going to explain how I found out about this show, this movie. I have a friend. She's an eclectic lady, and then she likes weird artsy shows. And we shared the same lunch, and I was like, hey, like, she's like, hey, have you seen the Substance? And I'm like, no. And she's like, well, you should check it out. It's a really good show. She has pretty good taste in TV shows, so I'm thinking, okay, I'll check it out. Boy. So before we dive any further deeper into this show, I text Clint. I'm like, hey, have you and the wife watched The Substance? He's like, no. What is it? I was like, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna offer any suggestions at all. And your thoughts?
I say this a lot whenever I'm giving movie or show recommendations. Well, movie recommendations. It's not a movie that I would want to go pay to go see, but coming in free to my TV, okay, I'll watch it. That's, first of all, that's like the quality and the plot and everything. To me, it is a quirky and intriguing, interesting story until the last 10 minutes of it. And it's not one of those movies that, I don't know, maybe it is. I'm not going to, it's like quirky and intriguing and like, okay, this is interesting. And the last 10 minutes, it's like off the rails. Like what I think we finished it. And I think when it got to that part, I think we were kind of like, you know, relaxing in bed, watching it. And then I think when that happened, we kind of sat up and like looked at the TV and we're like, huh? Like for 10 minutes, just like mouth open. What? You know, no words. And actually during one part, I got up and went and refilled my drink. I was like, just tell me if anything important happens. Like I'm going to take a 2-minute pause from what's on in front of my face right now. And I hope that honestly, I hope to our listeners, I'm not making it sound so interesting you want to go watch it, because I feel like you'll be disappointed. I don't want to make it out to be the end is so weird. They're like, well, now I got to go watch it because it's so. But also, it's not one of those things where you can fast forward to the last 10 minutes and watch it and get it. No, like you'd have to watch the first 2 hours of it. It's a little over 2 hours, I think, and then the last. But you know, the gist of the movie is it's making fun of the, you know, Southern California women who use Botox. That's what it is. It's like it takes that to the extreme. So far extreme, especially the last 10 minutes. It's like, what is in front of my face right now?
This is not a kid movie.
It's not at all. No.
Not at all. And I do not recommend this movie.
No.
However, if you're in for a good time and you just want to watch the weirdest thing you've ever watched in your entire life, check out The Substance. That's my review. It was terrible. But then I still am talking about it a year later after I watched it.
Oh, you watched it? Was a year?
Yeah, about a year, yeah.
So I caught
it on Amazon at some point.
I heard about it. And if you're somebody like me, I do watch award shows.
Yeah.
I heard about it because it was nominated. Did it win?
I don't remember if it won, but it was definitely on the award show.
It was nominated, and it was the cold open for the Oscars. Yeah. So Conan O'Brien, who I like, I listen to his podcast, he hosts the Oscars. This, like, they'll do movie, like, they'll put Conan in certain, they'll put the host in certain movies and like show clips throughout the Oscars. This was the cold open to the Oscars. If you watched that, and if you wondered why Conan O'Brien was crawling out of Demi Moore's body, then this is why, because that happens in this movie. Not Conan O'Brien, but I don't recommend it, but it is, if you like extremely odd movies, if you are not too easily offended by gratuitous nudity, because there's some of that in this movie. And if you don't mind watching a movie for 2 hours and then at the last 10 minutes just staring at your screen saying what is going on, then maybe you could check it out. But I like I said, I agree with you. I don't recommend it. Demi Moore's great.
Yeah.
Landman starts back tonight.
I'm going to watch it when I get home.
Yeah.
So the Twitch, I just got a text of someone who tried to comment, but they're new to Twitch, so they can't comment. And it says, this is from the person who recommended it. It's a great conversation starter with no communication happening to explain. Just watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then trying to explain it to your friends after you watched it.
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can either.
It would almost ruin it just to explain it.
Yes.
But I'm not trying to make it sound so interesting you have to go watch it.
But was my description not perfect?
Yeah.
I told you.
Well, then the funny thing was I texted you and I was like, I watched it. And you were like, well, and I was like, what is going on? And you just sit back like a laughing. That was it. You had no response.
Yeah, because it's like, what? I knew exactly what you meant. And then trying to explain it to other people, you're like, how did that just happen?
Oh
Something just fell off of your body and then is now walking down the sidewalk. Like, what in the heck is happening?
Oh, man.
It's a great conversation piece. That's for sure. That's for sure.
The most accurate thing in the movie was how dirty the Hollywood Walk of Fame is in that movie, because having just been there a few months ago, it's filthy, filthy
man.
place.
That was great. And I could just hear myself. Like, I know, anyways, we talked about this before, how I hear myself sometimes, but I could just visualize myself laughing as you're watching it.
Yes. Dennis Quaid. It's also like whoever the director is, whatever. It's an odd movie. Like, there's a scene where they show just a very up close shot of Dennis Quaid's mouth eating shrimp.
It's so weird.
And I'm like, that didn't have to be in there. But maybe it did, because now I'm talking about it.
And it's been out a long time.
So,
by the way, it's on HBO Max. If you want to go watch it, check it out.
let us know your thoughts.
Don't let me know your thoughts. I'm good. All right, and here we go.
More serious news. Biggest story of the week probably is the shutdown ended. We were talking about this on the pod as it was ending last week, that they had the Senate said they had the votes. Of course, the votes hadn't all come through. Had to go back to the House. President had to sign it. All of that, of course. But shutdown's over. Government's funded, and through January anyway, and let the appropriations process take place. There are 8 non-Republicans, I would say, because they weren't all Democrats, but 8 non-Republicans joined 42 of the 43 Republican senators to get to the required 60 votes to pass cloture, to be able to move the bill along, to beat the filibuster. Wow. We talked about this shutdown for more weeks than we thought we were going to be talking about the shutdown. We all thought pretty much right towards the beginning. I say we all, both of us speaking on the pod right now, not everyone, that it would be over fairly quickly.
We were wrong.
But we did predict that the Republicans would in no way cave on extending the COVID era enhancements to the Affordable Care Act, tax credit premiums, and that Chuck Schumer would eventually have to go to some senators and say, listen, I need you to take one for the team. I'm going to have to eviscerate you in the press, but it's not going to happen, and we've got to reopen the government. And I think still that's just what happened. And the reason I think that is because of the ones who voted yes. So all along, through all 15 or so votes to reopen the government in the Senate, Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada and John Fetterman in Pennsylvania have always voted yes. in all of those votes, they have voted to reopen the government. Each time they've been vocal about that. So they were 2 of the 8, but they were 2 easy ones of the 8 because they voted all the other times as well to reopen the government. Joining the party, I've got these kind of grouped into basically 3 groups. 3 senators, Hassan from New Hampshire, Angus King, who's the independent. That's why I can't say it's all Democrats, but he caucuses with the Democrats, of Maine, and Jackie Rosen, who's a brand new senator in Nevada. All voted yes because of the provision that was added by the Senate, the amendment that was added by the Senate to put a vote on the calendar for these ACA premium tax credits to get a vote. Now, it's not going to pass, but they were okay with saying, okay, we will put in here that we are going to have a vote that's going to happen next month in December on whether or not to extend these premium tax credits. And so they were good with that. That got them across the finish line. So that's those 3 senators. So now we're up to 5, Masto and Fetterman, who were always there. Now we gained Hassan, Angus King, and Jackie Rosen. The next one is in a group by himself, Tim Kaine, who was Hillary's running mate whenever she ran in 2016.
I forgot about him.
Vice president from Virginia. He basically said he's a senator in Virginia. 150,000 federal workers in his state. A lot of people, like we say, live in Virginia and work in D.C. who are out of work. And there's another amendment added to the Senate version of the continuing resolution that said that, Trump had said early on, maybe we don't need all these people. All these federal workers who aren't getting paid, maybe we don't need some of them, and so we're going to fire a bunch of them. So there was a provision added that anyone that Trump has slated to fire would be rehired with back pay. So he was happy with that. Makes sense. His state has a lot of federal workers. When you look at these states, New Hampshire, Nevada, Maine, and Virginia are all varying shades of purpley blue.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that you would get senators from those states, especially ones that aren't up for re-election until 2028 or 2030, to join. Last group are 2 retiring senators. I said that from the very beginning. I'm not saying I'm prophetic. You would make sense that if our senators retiring and not running again in 2026 next year, that they're a really easy one for Chuck Schumer to go to and say, hey, vote for this to reopen the government. And that's Jeanine Shaheen. And then Dick Durbin, who that's a big name. That's one of those senators, his name, because he's the longest serving ever Democratic whip, which the whip is not the majority leader or minority leader, but they are the one that goes and whips the votes. So when the majority leader or the minority leader says we need votes to pass this, or we need votes to vote against this, the whip is the one on the phone threatening people, basically, and
House
saying,
of Cards.
Yeah,
This is the show House of Cards.
Exactly, and saying, hey, it's what Kevin Spacey's
right.
When he was in Congress, he was the Democratic whip for Congress as a congressman. So to basically go whip the votes. Dick Durbin is the longest serving whip, 21 years, and he is retired. He's not the current whip. He lost that back in 2021 was when he stepped down from being the Democratic whip in the Senate. But he's an Illinois senator, served a long time, longest whip in history. So, but he's also retiring. Jeanine Shaheen's retiring, and that gets you to your 8. Add to the 52 because you don't have Rand Paul as a Republican senator from Kentucky. So you only have 52 Republicans, 7 Democrats, 1 independent, Angus King. You get to 60. I think the plan all along was for Chuck Schumer to have to go to some of these and get them to vote. And then I also think the plan all along was to get through Election Day. And I think that's why it happened. I think they wanted to use this on last Tuesday so they could get through Election Day, use all the capital they have from the government shutdown, and then go ahead and reopen the government. That's just my big 30,000-foot view look at it.
Do you think it was successful as far as the election goes? Do you think them holding out, the Democrats holding out for the 40 days, helped them in the election?
Yes, but minutely. I don't think it was huge, but I do think if you had to pick I think it's pretty well close to the middle, but the Democrats got a slight advantage. And the only reason I think they get a slight advantage is because the Republicans were in power in all houses.
Right.
The Senate, White House, and Congress. So, and people who don't pay close attention, like we talked about on the last podcast, are going to say, well, the Republicans are in charge and they shut down the government. I don't think.
I hate that statement, by the way.
Yeah. I don't think that the Affordable Care Act enhancements are going to be extended or made permanent. I'm sorry. That's what the Democrats are asking for, not an extension, but for them to be made permanent forever and ever. But I do think they may come back with like a 1 year or 2 year trail down. Like right now, under the COVID era enhancements, you could be making 4 times the poverty level, which for a family of 4 gets you like $130,000, $140,000 household income, and get your health insurance completely paid for. They may trickle that down to 300%, and then down to pre-COVID, it was you can make double the federal poverty level, and your health insurance was completely paid for. That's just my guess. I'm not researching or seeing them say any of that or putting numbers to it, but that's just my guess of what's going to happen. But at the end of the day, it's a policy difference, and it's not that the Democrats are so much better, in my opinion, and they have been like overall, not with every issue, but overall, in my time of paying attention to politics, they've been so much better at getting their message out. I don't think the Republicans are as good. Now, I think they've got some good ones now. I mean, J.D. Vance is great. Rubio's great at getting the message out. But the Democrats are so much better. And I think one of the reasons the Democrats are better at getting their message out is because they have those bleeding heart issues. They can stand up and say, well, the Republicans want to take away your health care. And that resonates with people.
Right.
Now, and for it not to resonate or for you to get the Republican side of it, you really have to drill down into the details. And that doesn't happen in our society. Like we're a very TikTok type of country where we just get the sound bites and what's quick, and that's what's always kind of worked in politics. So the line is the Republicans want to take away your health care. We're like, well, no, not really.
Right.
Right. But the Republicans don't want government paying for your health care in perpetuity, especially if you're making a well over 6-figure income household.
Right.
But then you gotta drill down, and people don't do that. So I think the Democrats get some points on their message because they have those bleeding heart issues.
I struggle with the lack of knowledge of things that are difficult to research. And here's what I'm saying about this. Most of the time, and I'm stereotyping political parties. Most of the time, the Republican guy is a 9-to-5 guy, works 12-hour shifts. He don't have time for this. They just don't. And they're not going to get on the thing and research it, and they're not going to be loud about it. They're going to show up and vote whenever they need to vote, and then go about their business.
Mm-hmm.
Those types of people are not affected as bad from the government shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
The other side of this card have more time.
Right.
On their hands.
Right.
I mean, and so it's difficult to even have a conversation with a person who doesn't understand, like, okay, like, here's a perfect example. Today we went to H-E-B.
Mm-hmm.
And on H-E-B's self-checkout, they have like your balance, your total balance, ETB qualification, and then taxes, and then what your total is. I think our bill was like $38. We didn't get a ton of stuff. Well, 36 of that 38 qualified for ETB or EBT.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife was like, what is that? I'm like, that's food stamps. She was like, oh my gosh. So like, we'd only have to pay like $2 for this? I was like, yeah. She's like, wow. I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, those are things that like people don't pay attention to because it doesn't affect you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. If they turn off the food stamps, that doesn't have any effect on me because I don't get it anyways.
Right.
And so it's like, it brings light to situations because we're paying attention to it, but 90% of the public aren't.
Right.
And that's frustrating to me.
Right.
Because it's like when you see these people coming on social media, and like I talked about last week about the echo chambers, and like somehow I got on the food stamp algorithm this week, which is like, it's just sad because it's like these people have become generationally dependent on these things. And how do you break that?
Right.
And then like also Mondami coming out today or yesterday talking about Starbucks and how, you know, the CEO of Starbucks makes 6,000% more than the average worker. Well, he should.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. But also, like, no offense to the barista manager at Starbucks, but that is not a long-term. That is a job, not a career.
Sure.
And so a lot of times, like, we've defined these quote-unquote jobs as careers, and they're not.
Right.
And so it's like, it's a good job.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good job, making $18 an hour. But you can't support a family of 4 on that.
No, and you're not meant to.
And so how do we, there's got to be a mindset shift about what is a career and what is not.
Right.
And because we see things like state minimum starting to pop up and federal minimum wage, and, you know, you can't support your family on $18 an hour, where you weren't really designed to do that. Those were not designed for that.
Right.
Long term. And nothing against those people. Like, they are hardworking people, and it's a difficult path.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you have to make a decision to be different.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. And I was it successful? I don't know. I think it's like what we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Like, even if the thing continued, the shutdown continued, the Republicans were going to lose this in the long run.
Yeah.
Because
they're the ones in power.
Yeah, this is the one that's in power. So.
Yeah. You know, W. Bush ran on this type of thinking that we're talking about. He called it, or coined, compassionate conservatism, where he's like, listen, I'm still conservative, you know, and we're still going to try to, you know, cut entitlements because we believe that's unsustainable in the future. You know, and he and Al Gore had the whole lockbox thing over Social Security, but he's like, oh, we're going to be compassionate about it. And whether you...
Turns out he was right.
Yeah. Yeah. And whether you subscribe to that or not, I agree. Like, if you have 25 million people, which not all of them would lose it, it's about 10 million that would that would lose completely their healthcare premium subsidy out of the 25 million that are on the Affordable Care Act, on Obamacare. Whether you can completely have the opinion and say, well, they shouldn't be getting it. They're making enough money to pay for their own health insurance. I pay for my own health insurance. They should pay for their own health insurance. You can say that. It's just untenable to drop 10 million people.
Yes.
Like,
I agree with you.
And just drop them. Like, there's got to be, like, if you're going to govern, like, you want to fix a mistake. I agree. It was a mistake for these enhancements. Like, the amount of spending that came out of COVID was a mistake. You know, some of it, a small percentage of it, may be necessary to keep the government going. Okay, I'm sorry, keep people going, especially in your food service and hospitality people. You know, because the government was the one shutting down the businesses. It wasn't the businesses failing. It was the government saying you couldn't go buy or couldn't go shop there. You know, and so whether you just want to do that cutoff or whether you think they should be made permanent, as we say with a lot of things, it's both and a little bit. I'm at the part, you know, we talked about, I watched The West Wing just kind of in perpetuity. And I'm in season 4 right now, and they have a shutdown. And there's a whole episode just titled Shutdown. And it's really interesting because the president, they strike a deal. The Republicans want a 1% cut on all spending and to be able to reopen the government. They come to the White House, and the Speaker of the House says, well, no, now we need 3. And because of the bait and switch, the president gets up, walks away from the table, and they shut down the government. You know, so it goes through kind of the mechanics. You've got the chief of staff standing in the White House lobby saying to all the White House employees, like, I'm sorry, you got to go home. And like all of the senior staff telling their staff, you've got to go home. Like, we'll get it done. And so you have like congressmen,
right,
like going to like trying to find copier toner and things like that. So it's kind of cool,
right,
like, you know, the behind the scenes of it. But the president is just unmoving. Like, he's like, no, it's a bait and switch. I don't like it. And the chief of staff is up in the residence talking to him, and he says, sometimes it's not enough to be right. And I feel like that applies here on the side of the Republicans. Like, the Republicans are right.
100%.
They were just trying to fund a straight up continuing resolution at already the funding levels that had been set by the Democrats under the Biden administration for the last budget before Trump came into office. They're just trying to extend that. So they are in the right, but sometimes it's not enough to be in the right. They gave up a couple concessions, hiring back workers, saying we will vote, we will address this next month in December. And I think that was a good compromise.
Yeah.
Because
what's going to be interesting is, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Sorry. What's going to be interesting is what comes out is, are they going to get this done before Christmas? Because they'll take the break of Thanksgiving, come back December 1st, I would imagine.
Get what done?
The ACA.
They're supposed to vote in December. It's not going to pass.
And so, like, what comes out of
it'll
that?
It'll be a straight vote as well. Like, they won't have.
Okay.
They'll need the same thing. They'll need the votes in the Senate, the votes in the House. They won't get it. It'll be a closer vote, but I don't think you're going to have enough congressmen. I'm more convinced you could have 4 congressmen flip on the Republican side, just if they have a lot of low-income people in their districts. You could see that, and you could see it get out of the House. It's not going to get out of the Senate.
Yeah,
because you're going to have 3. You have to have 4 senators. And Rand Paul voted against reopening the government. He would vote against that as well because that's spending money. So you would need to find 4 Republican senators to vote to extend or make permanent the ACA, and they won't do that. You're not going to have it. But Jon Stewart had a funny take on it. You like Jon Stewart?
I do.
I like him in small doses. Quick parental warning. This is a PG-13 clip. It is Jon Stewart. He is a late-night comic. No bad words in it, but it's a PG-13. So just so you know. It's funny, though.
This is a world-class collapse by Democrats. It would be like being up 10 points with 3 minutes left to go in a game and still finding a way to miraculously lose it for the 4th time in just 1 month. For those of you who don't follow the New York Football Giants.
He's a Giants fan, by the way.
Yeah.
Because let's say you value your time on this earth. This is a football team that on 3 separate occasions this season has blown games that, statistically speaking, based on their sizable leads vis-a-vis the amount of time left in the athletic contest, they had a 95 to 99% chance of winning. I refer you, for instance, to this win probability chart from Sunday's game against the Chicago Bears, where you can see the New York Giants' chance of victory climbs to 97% before they trip on their own dicks and fall down a flight of stairs. And again, I don't want to get too inside football here, but you're not supposed to do that.
I like the camera shift.
Yeah.
I have not had a good weekend.
He's a funny guy. But by the way, the New York Football Giants fired their head coach this week too. So
yeah,
Brian Daboll's out. Fallout. Of course, calls for Chuck Schumer. And I feel like Chuck Schumer eviscerating the Democrat senators who voted for this is fake.
Yeah.
I feel like he asked him to, said, I'm going to have to blow you up in the press, but I need this for you. And honestly, maybe that's because I watch too much of the West Wing, and you see that happen all the time. You see them come into the chief of staff's office or the deputy chief of staff's office and says, listen, I'm going to have to kill you in the press over this, but I need you to vote for this.
Right.
And then what's cool is like you watch it long enough to see like a season down the road and this person's up for something and like, sorry, we can't give that to you because you voted for this last year that we told you to vote for, and now you can't get this new job kind of thing.
That comes out in House of Cards too.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's all the big web. I wonder if all the people calling for Chuck Schumer to step down is fake too, because they have to do that now.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think there are some who are not fake about it. It'll be interesting to see with Pelosi retiring and kind of Chuck Schumer's in that kind of class of politician on the Democrat Party. With, the Democrats replacing Pelosi with a new young up-and-comer Hakeem Jeffries, if the Senate will do the same. I don't know. I think the majority of it's fake, but if, the Democrats replace leadership the next time after 2026, then we could see that.
I mean, we talk about AOC a lot too. She came out. I posted this on our socials, and we didn't get it in the clips. But she came out, and somebody asked if his leadership should be questioned, and she never came out one way or the other. And so it was like she could have very easily gone against the flow or gone with the flow and against him, and she didn't, which is I think is a smart move, honestly, on her part.
Yeah, and I mean she's in Congress, he's in the Senate. There's a little bit of a difference there, but also for senators, the most money they get for campaigning, I forget what it's called. It's a Senate campaign something committee, and so you don't want to piss off the majority leader,
right,
or minority leader in this case of Chuck Schumer, because they direct the purse on where that money goes.
Right.
So people who are in the Senate and Democrats, if they were to come out and call for Chuck Schumer leadership to end, then they run the risk of not getting any money or support whenever they run again. So politics.
I love it.
I know, it's interesting.
I love it. It's so fascinating because there's so many webs of connections that you can make, and you can make it the story. You can make the story whatever you want it to be. You really can.
Yeah.
Like you can make this out as Trump lost. You can make it out as J.D. Vance, and you can make this out as an AOC victory because she didn't really vote for it, but now she's standing against. You can make it whatever you want.
Right.
Which is why politics is so interesting. And so I think I wanted to know your take. I wanted to go back one more time to right before the ACA COVID era subsidies. It says the mistake shouldn't. What did you mean by that? Right below slide 11.
Right. So enhancing those Affordable Care Act premium payments during COVID, to me, was a mistake.
Okay.
And you should not continue the mistake just because it will provide temporary hardship. And I put the example, it's not apples and apples, usually never is. But during COVID, nobody had to make student loan payments.
Correct.
And then that just expired and ended, and everybody had to find a way to start making their student loan payments again, and they did. Now, student loan payments probably aren't as much, maybe for some people, but probably aren't as much as your health insurance payment. But could be.
Yeah, very easily could be.
Easily could be half of that, 60% of that. And people found a way to make that work. And I think they'll do the same here. Like I heard some people say, well, if this happens, this guy's going to be paying $1,800 for his health insurance. I'm like, isn't that what teachers pay?
Yeah, it's
for,
a lot.
For
it's
family,
so much
right?
money.
Like
so
I was like,
money.
there's a lot of people. Like it stinks. I'm really happy to have. I don't pay that much. Pay about half of that. Great insurance for the company I work for, but there are people out there who don't qualify for ACA subsidy because they get health insurance from their employer, so they can't.
I actually looked into it this week, and I can't because it's offered through my
through your employer.
Right.
So you have to pay that high price that these people are complaining they're going to have to pay if these subsidies go in. Like there's teachers out there, a 2-teacher family all over the country working and having to pay that amount and have had to pay that amount during this whole time. If they have to, then why should no one else have to? And so that's what gets to the argument. That's why I say ultimately this always comes down to policy, is that it gets back to some people think the government should just pay for healthcare across the board for everyone. And so that's why it's policy.
I need to look up exactly how much we pay, but like $1,800 a month is coming to mind.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
It's about, because it's complicated, but you can split your premium and do all this fancy work. But
every time my wife gets to open enrollment, we look at if it's more advantageous to pull her off of mine and just let her go by herself.
Right.
Because I feel like back in the day when she first started teaching, like just if you were just the teacher insurance, you weren't including any kids or family on it, it was pretty cheap. It's not anymore.
Right.
Even if you're just the teacher, it's still more expensive than it would be. So I cover everybody on mine, and I'm glad we're blessed to have it.
And we could go to like a meta share.
Yeah.
But the problem is that you run into is if you have any specialists at all. certain of those meta shares, like the Christian Network, and there's a couple of others, that they can decline it because it's not. They don't call it like a pre-existing condition, but they can. And like, you know, I've talked about it before on the pod. My son had open heart surgery, so we have to go to a cardiologist yearly. Well, they can technically decline that. And like the things that they have to do, he has to have done.
Yeah.
Like he has to have a echocardiogram. He has to have a sonogram. He has to have all those things done just to make sure everything is working.
Right.
Well, I can't afford to pay for that out of pocket every time we have to go.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So it's like, it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
So I just a little update on the student loan situation. It's so messed up right now that it was already like 3 to 6 months behind. Now that they shut the government down, which shut down a lot of those people who, because they weren't essential workers, it's even further behind. I haven't called since the government shutdown came back, but I'm going to have to call probably over Thanksgiving break because I couldn't get anybody on the phone.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have to talk to someone about this situation. So it's kind of interesting. Switching gears just for a little bit, there's been a lot of talk, at least in the state of Texas. I don't know if this is across the country. I do know Oklahoma does this, but a 4-day work week is a 4-day school week.
School week, yeah. And
I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that. We both have a lot of kids. We said this last week. It was a 9 total between the two of us. In 2015, they switched the TEA switched from the amount of days that you must attend school from 184 to 187, depending on where you are, to minutes, which was 75,600 minutes. So TEA came out this week and it was in the like a, I get like these alerts from TEA, and it's been on the table of discussion of a 4-day school week. And through some channels of people that I just happen to know, I was talking to this guy about it, and he was like, yeah, supposedly the director of TEA is going to come out and say no more 4-day weeks.
Oh, wow.
Within the next 2 years. So they're going to get through the governor election, and then whoever is elected will come out and say, okay, no more. Here, I have a couple thoughts on that. First off, kids are in school for too long in a day. Now, I don't know exactly how long your kids go to school, but because I'm a teacher, like our kids get there, our secondary schools start at 8 to 8:30, and they don't get out until after 4. Now, the problem is not only that, is then they have to stay after for extracurriculars, or they have to come before, or they have to stay before, get there early, and then leave late.
Yeah.
So there will be times where if you have a student, especially in secondary school, they may not leave the school till 8 o'clock at night. So they're there for 12 hours. So it got me thinking about like, how does this affect the work person? Now, and I'm not naive to say that the districts that we live in, generally speaking, the parents work from home or own private businesses, so they can kind of work around that. And I'm not saying that 4-day school weeks is perfect for everybody, and it's because it's not. And the reason that they gave to go to the 4-day school week was to be able to recruit teachers to, especially to the smaller districts. Like that's an incentive to come to work for these smaller schools. And I'm curious what your thought is on this, with you working a typical corporate job and your wife being a school teacher. Could y'all manage a 4-day school week?
I mean, yeah, we'd find a way. We're flexible enough in our work. I think that the teachers have to go. Usually, with
typically,
the districts that have done it, they go in on Friday like once a month or twice a month.
Every other week.
Okay, so every other week the teachers are in on Friday. So that would be
or Mondays is the case, maybe in some districts.
Right. That would be the day that we would have to, find something alternative to work it out. I feel like the 4-day, and just as an outsider looking in, and just from what I've heard, my wife come home and say so-and-so is leaving next year. They're going to such and such school, and they have a 4-day week. To me, so as an outsider and husband of a teacher, I think that the entire premise of it has nothing to do with education, although they've got to come up with some reasons that it does, or they can't do it. It's just to attract teachers. To say, hey, we can get good teachers. There's a shortage of teachers. There's a shortage of good teachers, 100%. So we can get good teachers. We can get more teachers if we have a 4-day week. And I think that's what it is, and that's what's going on. And I think maybe if the TEA is coming out and saying no more of this, then they're just trying to level set for all the districts. So some districts don't have that competitive advantage to hire teachers.
And to be clear, TEA hasn't come out and said that just yet.
Yeah.
It's just been circles that are talking around Austin, and they're saying that this would be a thing. And like, if you're thinking about it from, like, our district has done a great job the last 2 years. The district that I work in has done a great job of being like a hybrid. Like, we're not an official 4-day work week, but it's like, oh, we're going to take a Friday off here. We're going to take a Monday off here. We're going to take this Friday off. And it works very, very well. I'm a proponent. I mean, again, I've been in the business for 15 years and really my entire life of having a 3-week break every 9 weeks. To where you go 9 weeks of school, 3-week break. 9 weeks of school, 3-week break.
I haven't heard much about that recently, but that used to be all the rage. They're talking about year-round school back in the day.
Now,
like, we're not farmers
is,
anymore. We don't have to get out of school for the harvest, but then it just kind of died off.
Yeah, and the Twitch brings up a hybrid schedule is rough on the parents who both work outside the home. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And so now districts that have done this have also gone to who have gone to like a I don't want to call it a daycare because it's not that, but like they offer certain kids, if they need to come to school, they'll even send the bus to pick them up.
Okay.
So they can come on that 5th day. I've even seen like in secondary school where like that would be a privilege that was earned. So like 4 days a week, unless you're not passing your classes or unless you're having behavioral issues. You have to pass this, you have to pass that. So it's an incentive to do that. Now, for the student, especially in secondary school, those guys can go work. Like a lot of guys, we're talking more and more about CTE and the welding industry, and that's just a big automotive and things like that. That would be the perfect transition for people like that, especially secondary school.
It's like early release, on hyper.
Yeah. And so I think that would be a definite benefit. But right now, we're not looking at it from that perspective. We're looking at it as, okay, this is a recruiting tool to continue to hire the best quality teachers and maybe keep teachers in just a little bit longer. So I don't know. I don't know. I think year-round school, it's either going to go one way or the other. This is my hard take on this. You're either going to see them say, okay, you can go 4 days a year, 4-day weeks, but you can't make the kids go for more than this many minutes a day because they're there so long, so long. Or you can go 5-day weeks, and then you can kind of trim the days.
Shorten your days.
Now, here's what somebody that's not in Texas does not understand, okay? We do not have snow plows and ice trucks here, okay? And if it ices, you cannot go to school.
Yeah.
You cannot go to school. And so what a lot of districts have done is, like, instead of going, I'm just giving you an example, going 75,000 minutes a year, they're going 80,000 minutes a year. So that way they're building in those days.
Banking days,
banking minutes. So that way you don't have to, if you do have a snowstorm like we had a couple years ago where we're out a week, you don't have to make those days up at the end of the year.
Yeah, in 2021, everything was shut down for an entire week. And I was like, well, we're going to have to make up some days in the summer. But like, no, actually we had enough banked days. And I'm like, wow, you could miss a whole week.
Yeah.
And
the Twitch brings this up. Would it be feasible to have a 4 to 5 hour school day nearly year round?
I mean, it seems like it'd be less than that. But then when you think about the parents, if you're going to play that angle on it, you've got then is everybody getting out of school at 2 in the afternoon and all the parents are still working till 5?
That's a great question.
So it's like it's like, pick your poison, 6 in one, half dozen in the other, or 6, 7, whatever, like this. You can have to find alternate arrangements for the summer or every day of the year and from the rest of the day. And then if you're doing like after school, like programs and things like that, then they're still at the school all those hours.
Right.
Well,
it would be less because you're starting those after school, like the practices and stuff. Now, games and stuff would be different, but like practices and things like that would be able to start earlier.
Yeah, for your secondary students.
Correct.
But like if your elementary kids are getting out much earlier, and then they're having to do after school. They're still there for the same amount of time, doing the same thing.
I just know that the way that we're going right now is not sustainable for a long period. There's going to have to be a dynamic shift in public education in some form. And what that is, I'm not exactly sure. It's been interesting, the effect of AI on my classroom. Have we talked about this?
Yeah, we did last time.
No, we talked about the videos.
Oh, the
and
videos,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I'm talking about like instruction and stuff like that. Like, it's getting so hard to challenge my students because they have everything at their fingertips. And so I had a conversation with someone this week, a student this week, and they were like, well, I studied. I'm like, but you didn't study enough. Like, if you want to make an A, you're going to have to really study. And I'm not talking about like cram 15 minutes before the test, because I'm having to really step up the rigor to depth of knowledge 2 and 3 versus just fact-based to where it does challenge them a little bit. And I'm not getting a ton of pushback, but it's like, come on, guys, you got to step it up. It's almost like, and you'll remember this, and some of the Twitch listeners will listen to this to understand this a little bit. It's like when the calculator came on, like the scientific calculator, 8th grade math. I'll never forget it. Teacher said, you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket all the time, but now we do.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do we shift that? And I understand that AI is much bigger than that, right? I'm just narrowing the scope down to just education.
Yeah.
But how do we manage that long term? I think it'll come with minutes. I think it'll come with teaching kids how to manage that stuff. So kind of a sidebar conversation from politics, but we're going to hop right back into it with Tucker Carlson and Nazis. Yay.
This guy, like, I used to be a huge Tucker fan when I was growing up. He was with James Carville on Crossfire. Crossfires even gets mentioned on the West Wing a few times. They're like, hey, yeah, I saw you on Crossfire. I know who you are. It was the show. Like, you had the news, but then you had the Republican James Carville. I'm sorry, the Republican Tucker Carlson and the Democrat James Carville sitting across the desk like we are right now, just talking about the issues going at it. And they'd have people on, the guest on to talk about it. And it was where you really got down to the nuts and bolts of politics in Washington and what was going on. And you got to hear debate and arguments about it for some really sharp people. Tucker, like, lately though, like, occasionally I'll hear the thing that I agree with, but he's I'm not going to say he's gone off the rails. Some people will say he's gone off the rails, but it's gotten interesting. And so he got a lot of pushback because he had Nick Fuentes on his podcast. And Nick Fuentes is like, I'm not going to call him a Nazi because we've spent a lot of time on this podcast saying we hate how people get called Nazis. And he's not an outright Holocaust denier, but he says it wasn't that extreme. Like, there wasn't 6 million Jews killed. It wasn't that bad, kind of thing. He will not say that Hitler was a bad guy. He's labeled a Nazi, labeled a neo-Nazi, as through what he says. I watched a bunch of his clips, and he doesn't really back off. He kind of owns what he says. So just to give you an idea, if you don't know who Nick Fuentes is, here's a short clip of just him talking on a podcast about what he thinks about Hitler.
Simple yes or no answer. Hitler, good guy, bad guy?
That's a tough. Well, there are no good and bad guys. They're just people.
Well, that's not true, dude.
It is true.
I mean, so if you had to check one box.
I'm going to say I'm neutral on that. I'm abstaining from
There's
that
no
one.
neutral.
You're saying that Hitler was not a bad guy?
I think that, it's
But then
World
you're
War.
questioning why people may not want you talking? I'm giving you a platform.
Look, if we're going to say Hitler bad, then I'm going to say Churchill bad, and I'm going to say Roosevelt bad, and I'm going to say they're all bad. But if we look at him as a product of his time in that moment, we have to judge him with those things in mind. That's all.
And so
I have a story about that. Can I tell you real quick before you
go ahead.
make your point? This is a very ivory tower in college in the social sciences department conversation.
Yeah.
That does not need to be had in public. Okay? I'm just being honest with you. Like, when I was in college and I was going to grad school, I had to literally have a conversation about this exact conversation right here.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a closed room, there's no cameras, there's nobody, and it's making you think. The point of that activity was to make you think, okay, how do I judge history?
Right.
That's the point of that conversation. It's not meant to be had in public. It's meant to make you think. It's meant to make you have critical ideas. Okay. Not on a podcast that millions of people watch and listen to.
The difference is he believes it.
I know.
Like we can, like you say, if you want to sit in a grad level history, social sciences type of classroom and say, hey, well, let's talk about, did Hitler do anything good? Right? Like, was he good for Germany or something? If you want to have that conversation in that room, fine. But he believes that, and he wants to put Churchill and Roosevelt in that same bucket.
Right.
Like Churchill and Roosevelt defended their countries.
Right.
Against an aggressor. Hitler didn't just try to go take over territory. Like that's not all he did. He didn't just say, hey, I'm in Germany and I want to go claim Britain and North Africa and everywhere. No, he committed genocide.
Right.
Against a people. Like, it's not the same, bud. Like, and I've been
100%.
I've been hearing a lot of that. Not so much Roosevelt, but I have listened to. There's like some new. I say it's new, maybe it's old, but there's a lot of pushback on, was Churchill really a good guy? You know, so I've kind of listened to some of that, and I hear some of that, and I'm like, come on. The guy is leading his country through a war. He's a wartime prime minister. And like, are you going to find mistakes that he made or hard decisions he had to make to defend his country? Absolutely. Does that put him in the same bucket as Hitler? Absolutely not. Like, I think this stuff is ridiculous. So anyway, just the Tucker avenue is that people have pieced this together. Like, Tucker Carlson had him on his show, and they're like, well, you shouldn't platform him. You know, you should not have this guy on your show to give him a platform to spew this type of stuff. But Tucker's not a big fan of Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel either. So
right.
It kind of, and this is where, in my opinion, and I have not seen everything, just from what I have watched and what I have consumed, I think Tucker is, and because he had Nick Fuentes on, is getting more hate, putting him kind of in the Nick Fuentes bucket. And I don't think Tucker Carlson is in the Nick Fuentes bucket. I don't think he's that far on that side. I don't know. I don't know the guy.
So here's a question. Here's something that Twitch brought up. It says, this is about Tucker. It says there's asking questions, and then there's just asking quote unquote questions.
Yeah.
And pushing radicalized ideas.
Yeah. And that's the pushback from Tucker. You can go watch the interview. He lets Nick Fuentes talk and really doesn't challenge him that much. Whereas we talk about Rogan, if you come with some crazy crap like this, Rogan's going to challenge you all the way to the hilt. And there is, I wish I found it. You recommended it to me. Do you remember the people that were on it? The guy that was talking about Churchill, and Rogan was pushing back so hard. Like, it's a fight on the Rogan show.
I agree.
Like, it is an absolute outside. Like, they're not just debating. Yeah. It's like a fight.
Yes.
I forget the episode, but we can post it. You sent it to me and said, hey, have you listened to this? And I'll listen to it. Where Rogan is really challenging this guy for saying that Churchill was actually bad. And so Tucker doesn't do that. And so that's to Tucker's fault. Like, you can't let somebody come on your show who has these ideals and has these thoughts, and not, if you're going to bring them on the show, then the idea has to be like, if they start saying this stuff, I'm pushing back. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like, come on, man.
I just think that you have, it goes back to my point just a second ago. You're able to ask those questions, but also you have to understand your audience. You have to understand who you're talking to and who you're asking those questions to. Yeah. And so just this week, I wasn't excited that Hitler was on the thing, but I found this interesting fact this week because it came out that they found like a cloth that had some of Hitler's blood on it. Okay. And they studied his DNA. And the historian that studied it was on the BBC, and I reposted it on our Twitter, on our Facebook. He talked about, do we even do this? Do we even study this? Should we study it? What's the good? What's the bad? It was determined that he was obviously on the spectrum, that he was bipolar, that he was schizophrenic. All these markers are in his blood, and that he was obviously not Jewish, and that his bloodline came from non-Jewish non-Jewish lineage. My next thing is then you have Walmart. Okay, I don't know. Did it make
it's up there when you're ready for it.
If what Nick Fuentes is saying is okay, if we are as a public are accepting that, then why is there the backlash from Walmart? Those that are listening to the podcast, Walmart came out with a Paper Beats rock, and it's a hand that is black in a white background that is giving the Hitler salute, which would obviously be the hand. I'm not going to do that because then you know what YouTube will do? They'll pull that clip.
Yeah.
And then you have...
Well, you know what happened to Elon whenever he was like, you're in my heart.
Yeah.
And then he moved his hand to a different...
Yeah. Well, and then Mondami did the same thing.
Yes.
And then AOC has done the same thing. Everyone does that.
Yeah.
And then below the Nazi salute is a white fist on a black background. Uh-oh.
I mean to do that.
Oh, there's...
You got MTG up.
Yep. Then there's the rock, which is the Black Power salute.
Yeah. What? Like,
okay.
First of all, I don't even understand it.
Can I be completely non-politically correct on the podcast at this moment? This is where DEI comes in, and someone sees this and is like, that is an amazing shirt. This is not satire, guys. They did not do this in satire. They posted this as like a t-shirt that they were planning on selling. And so it's like, what the heck?
Well, what I want to know is like...
How does that get through?
I have so many questions. First of all, it's a dumb shirt. Second of all, they scramble to pull T-shirts which appear to have Nazi... Like, what else could it be? First of all, why has the hand only got 4 fingers? I don't know.
Well, 3 fingers and a thumb, to be honest.
Yeah, and then like you say,
why does the fist have all 5 fingers on there?
Yeah, and then it is 100% the Black Power fist. Like that's what you think of when you see that fist. Which, like, that's fine in my opinion to put on a shirt and sell, right? If they want to do that and put that on a shirt and sell it, whatever.
But it's the wrong color.
Yes,
there's so many things wrong with this shirt.
Like.
I don't know if the Twitch can actually see, like the camera is not doing great of like actually showing that shirt, but just Google it. It'll pop up. And I shared it on our Facebook page.
People.
That's so bad. That's so bad on Walmart's part.
I disagree wholeheartedly with Nick Fuentes, and I don't think Tucker should have had him on if he wasn't going to push him and with some logic and just call out the fallacies and the lies that he believes.
And to be clear, I don't know if I've been clear enough, but Hitler was a horrible human.
Yes. Yeah, it's
horrible.
You can say he was a bad guy. It's okay.
And like that's not to say that he didn't have some tragedy in his life, because he did. If you read about him, he had some horrible things happen to him. But that doesn't mean that you get to eradicate a whole religion and race.
Right.
That doesn't make that right either. And so like I feel like those are the like Nick Fuentes is the type of guy that tries to find like the most horrible human being on the planet, like a Stalin. Like that's what the Twitch has brought up.
Yes.
Is like the Twitch says Fuentes idolizing and defending Stalin is fascinating. Like, how do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're in the same category.
Right.
It's like, how do you defend someone like a Pol Pot, right? How do you defend that? And I don't know. Like I don't know the answer to that.
Something can be interesting and you want to read about it and learn about it and how they ran their government and their history without being able to not call them out for being a bad person.
Correct.
Because the interesting thing you bring up about Stalin, also very bad person, but on the opposite side from Hitler in World War II.
Right.
You know, so it's like just because Stalin fought Hitler doesn't erase all the bad things that Stalin did. Correct. And did after that.
Correct.
Sometimes you think, I don't know, I think Nick Fuentes believes that. If you watch him enough, you're like, no, this guy actually believes what he's saying. I don't think he's doing it for clicks.
I don't think so either. I don't watch a ton of Nick Fuentes, but
I did just because of this. But
I also have a hard, and I've said this before, I have a hard time with ignorance. Like that guy's ignorance, and he's just ignorant. He's just trying to get. Yeah. Maybe he's not ignorant. Maybe he's really smart, and he's trying to get people to talk about him. And guess what?
It worked.
It worked.
You want to flip to Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Let's go.
All right. So I have varying opinions on Marjorie Taylor Greene. She is a congresswoman from Georgia. Pretty kind of, she was elected in 2020 and very much with like a Lauren Boebert from Colorado, very outspoken, out there, says some crazy things. But from 2020 on was a 100% backer for Donald Trump. MAGA to the core. And so they've kind of had a falling out. She got a lot of pushback because she went on The View. I'm going to play a little clip here that just has her talking about kind of some of her thoughts. But then she pushes heavy the Epstein saga. And if I never hear Epstein again, I'll be a happy person. That's where I'm at with it. I know there's a lot of people who care a lot about it and think it's just the be all end all of everything that's going on right now. I don't. I tend to think, I don't know if Trump went there. I don't know if he's on the list. I'm sure there's a lot of people, names we would recognize that did, and that's horrible. And Epstein was a horrible person, and Ghislaine Maxwell is a horrible person. Nick Fuentes, it's okay to say that. They're bad people. You can call somebody a bad person. And then I'm sure there's a bunch of people on his list we don't know. They're just rich people.
Yeah.
They just had the money.
Yeah.
Because he's a financier.
Have we talked about Epstein on the pod?
Too much.
Okay.
I think if you totaled up all the minutes we've talked about Epstein, it's less than 30 in all of our nearly 50 episodes. But that to me, that's still too much. And I just don't care. And I know there's going to be people say, well, you should. I don't. I don't look up, and you can call this a problem if you want. I really don't look up too much to my politicians for moral authority. Like, I want them to be.
Go there.
I do want them to be good moral people. Like, that's a good quality to have.
Right.
And being a pedophile is reprehensible. Like, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Do I want my politicians to be pedophiles? Absolutely not. No. But they are governing the country.
I'm relighting my cigar just for this.
Well, I mean, I don't have much more to say about it, but I don't. If I hear about a politician that has a moral flaw, I'm like, we just call that Tuesday. If you find a politician that has no moral flaws, then I'm like, okay, that's noteworthy. And I'm sorry that that's the way it is. But I feel like I'm just more of a realist on that. And if these politicians are on that list, they are horrible people. Okay? 100%.
Trump included.
Yeah. If he's on that list, if he did those things, like, fine. I'm right there with you. But here's the thing that might get me canceled. That doesn't mean I want President Kamala Harris.
Okay. That's not what I was expecting you to say, but I agree with that.
Because I'm looking to the president. I have what I'm looking to the president for. The things on that list, at the top of that list, moral authority is not there.
Yeah.
I want it, and I would love to have it. But
I would hope that most of them would have good moral principles.
Right.
I just think here's my I'm going to go less than 2 minutes. I don't care about it because I figure they're all there.
Yeah.
The other thing is we forget so quickly that this is not a new news story.
No.
President Joe Biden was also president and had full control of the House and the Senate and could have released all of this.
Epstein happened in 2019. Biden was inaugurated in 2021. It was already a story before he was there. Like, he could have, and he didn't. Probably because a bunch of his people are on the list.
And here's the other thing. Do I believe... I think they should release whatever they got.
Right.
whatever they have, no marks off of it, because that's what everything I'm seeing now. Everything's like blacked out, this person's name, and then I was like, went down a deep data hole, and like there's some giga data or whatever that's called that's been removed, and then they've done the blockchain, and I don't understand how all that all works. But here's the thing. We are in way deep trouble if we're depending on a human being like Donald Trump for moral guidance. That's not where I'm going for that.
Yeah.
Can he manage the government? He's doing a decent job so far. Can he do my list is just like yours. It's very similar. I'm not looking for that.
It's not the same thing, but it's similar to why I don't go to celebrities for political advice either. You're like, if you're an actor or an actress, you're really good at lying and faking being someone else. If you can get into character and be someone, then great. You're really good at that. That's amazing. But I don't look to you for like who I should vote for. Like, I don't think that gives you a platform for that, because you sing well and I like your music. And that's why I really don't like, I mean, freedom of speech, everybody can say whatever they want. And if somebody who I like their music comes out and says, well, I want to, Eminem stumped for Kamala Harris. Okay. Fine, whatever. Like, does that mean I took his music off all my playlists? No.
What about Beyonce?
I don't really like her music. Oh. There's a couple songs that I like that. I actually kind of like the This Ain't Texas one. I like, that's got a little groove to it, but I don't really, the Destiny's Child stuff.
Good stuff.
That's good stuff back then. I'm just showing my age a little bit, but like her new stuff, and maybe she does have good stuff. I got to admit, I don't listen what I listen to doesn't cross my path a bunch.
So Billy Bob Thornton was on JRE last week. Did you
But
listen to that
Jay-Z,
one?
I listened to Jay-Z.
Yeah.
So on the Beyonce angle.
What about Kanye? Would you listen to Kanye if he came out against Donald Trump?
I wouldn't care. I really don't. And
I know you don't. I'm just poking you. I'm just poking the bear.
And what ingrained this in me, and I've said this before, is that the first presidential election I voted in was Bush v. Gore, and Tommy Lee Jones at that time was my favorite actor, introduced Al Gore because they were roommates in college at the Democrat National Convention. And so I was like, I really like Tommy Lee Jones, and he's been in a lot of great movies. I'm not going to watch Tommy Lee Jones anymore because he's voting for Al Gore and introducing him at the convention? Absolutely not.
So Billy Bob was on promoting Landman.
Yeah.
This week on
I saw what he said.
And he was like, look, I don't have any say in politics. I do one thing, and that's act.
Yes.
I just stay in my lane.
And he's
you're starting to see
he's great at it.
You're starting to see more and more actors come out in that vein. Okay?
Yes.
Is it Sydney Sweeney?
Sydney Sweeney, yeah.
When she was asked about her great jeans commercial, and now she's a meme. It's the perfect meme. It's just the face of just like, I cannot believe I'm having to have this conversation with this lady. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So what Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing, let's play the clip first.
Yep. This is her on The View.
Trump is reportedly calling his MAGA cronies because they say that you're slamming Republicans.
Cronies.
Well, you're taking my job. You're slamming Republicans a lot on topics like health care, the Epstein files. We know he's still your favorite president. I mean, Truman is mine. I dated him.
But I did not date Donald Trump, but I do love him.
You do love him, yeah.
Yes, I did.
All right, well, whatever.
Did she really date Truman?
So when was the last time you spoke to him?
It's not
And
old
what's
enough.
the tension between the two of you? You may love him, but he may not love you back right now.
Well, that's okay. I mean, Donald Trump, he usually yells at everybody, so we're all used to it. But he's the president of the United States, and here's something you all may not know about me. I think a lot of people on the left are learning that when I ran for Congress in 2020, I ran criticizing Republicans and Democrats equally because I come from a working class family.
Looked it up, and that's true.
Okay, this is something that the left cannot wrap their brain around. Okay?
Yeah.
And this is where I see the stark difference between the Republican Party of today and the Democratic Party of today. Is if you came out and you're trying to run a Senate campaign or a House of Representatives campaign, and you're a Democrat, you cannot speak against AOC.
Mm-hmm.
You can't speak against Thune. You can't speak against, not Thune, Chuck Schumer. You can't speak against Hakeem Jeffries. You just have to agree with everything they say.
Yeah.
Whereas a Republican candidate,
unless you're John Fetterman.
But poor guy,
Yeah.
he had a rough week.
He had a rough week.
My guy had a rough week.
Did you send him flowers?
I tried. I couldn't
Sure
get his
you
address.
did.
I tried to get his address, but I couldn't find it. But I would have sent him an ice pack for his face.
If J.D. Vance and John Fetterman are on the ticket,
I will lose my ever-loving mind. I will come on here and I will pop poppers and I'll have a Fetterman for VP. I'm just kidding. But I do like that guy. But my point is she...
no,
she,
I mean if they're going against each other.
Oh, I don't know. I would vote J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
I like J.D. Vance. I like Fetterman as a Democrat. I just think he's
Yeah.
middle of the road, and I like that.
I like him because he just speaks like he's an actual guy.
Yeah,
you know.
And I've grown to like
He
him
calls
more.
balls. He calls balls and strikes.
That's what he says.
Yeah, you know.
Apparently, he just can't stand up straight for very long.
Got a stroke in
I
the
know.
campaign and still got elected.
Yeah.
And then apparently there was some complication from that. Like,
Yeah, he has to take this medicine.
Does medical term where he lost some blood flow to the brain and made him faint, and he fell down a flight of stairs and busted his face up.
20 stitches.
He's a big dude.
I did send by the way, it does say who's posting this, so it's not you, it was me. I said, get well soon, friend. Just so you know.
Yeah.
And so like I think that when she says something like that, that doesn't hurt her in the Republican Party.
Yes.
But if she's on the other side of the aisle,
Yeah.
it would definitely harm her.
For sure.
By the way, the Mavericks are only down by 6, 91-85.
A construction company for over 20 years. And I feel like the government has failed all of us. And it purely disgusts me. It really does. And I represent a district that is rural, manufacturing district, blue-collar workers. And people have been crushed by decades of failure in Washington, D.C. And so I have no problem pointing fingers at everyone. And the worst thing that I just can't get over is we're not working right now. And I put that criticism directly on the Speaker of the House. And we should be at work. All the people sitting in this audience, they go to work every day. People at home watching the show, they go to work every day. Ladies, you go to work every day. The people on your set, and it is an embarrassment to me that we're not in session.
Unless there's a writer's strike and then nobody's working.
Yeah.
So it's no different than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's caveats to that, but I don't know how genuine she is. This is her going on The View, and like she did, I went back and watched some campaign stuff. She did a little bit. It's not 50-50 calling out Republicans and Democrats. It's very MAGA, but then there's also like a thing or two here. But more or less, she was calling out the old Republican Party, not what Donald Trump was bringing in. If you go back and watch her stuff, like she's calling out George W., you know, and the old Republican Party for things they didn't get accomplished and things like so. Like yes, sort of, but not really. So I don't know if this is just who she is and it's genuine or what. I'm not going to ever vote for her because she's in Georgia unless she runs on a national ticket. So, but what she's describing and what we've talked about with Fetterman is what we do need.
Right.
Like, we've got to be honest. And like, if your side messes up, I know you want to spin it and I know you want to give the silver lining and all that kind of stuff. Fine, do that. You're in politics. I have no issues with that. I understand it. But you still got to say, we missed this one, and this is how we're going to fix it. Because you know what? That's what you do in the real world.
Right.
If you miss a benchmark or something in education, if I miss one of my KPIs in the corporate world, then it's like we missed it. We don't sit around and say, well, it's the other side's fault. If I do that, I'm out of a job.
Right. Right.
I've got my boss has to be able to see that I can identify where a mistake was made so I know how to fix it.
Right.
And like, I know it's different in politics, but like it is refreshing whenever somebody says, no, we missed that one, made a mistake here. This is what we're going to do so we don't do that again. And then, okay, continue on with the policy that I agree with, that I voted for, you know. And
common sense.
Yeah.
By the way, the Twitch says calling what the women on The View do as work, quote unquote, is a stretch.
I mean, they get paid for it.
By the way, going back to our previous conversation, this person on Twitch says, I listened to the whole Cowboy Carter album.
Okay.
Absolute garbage.
Yeah. That one song's kind of peppy. It's all right. That's the only song I know from that.
I didn't listen to any of it.
She did a good Super Bowl. I liked her Super Bowl with Bruno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump coming out and blasting her is good.
No.
Vibes.
No, and he's probably going to endorse a primary opponent against her.
I don't think she'll lose. You think? Who knows?
I don't know because it's Georgia. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm still waiting for your map.
What?
The Republican.
Oh
the
yeah,
House,
we ain't there yet.
We ain't there yet.
There's still some movement. California finalized theirs last week on election day. So, I mean, maybe this is her. Maybe she sticks with it and she rolls up for Senate.
Maybe
Georgia. I don't know. But what she's saying anyway, I think it's on the right track.
Do you want to show the last one?
Yeah.
Is it a clip or is it just an image?
It's just his tweet, which you're not going to be able to see this on the Twitch. I can see on our cameras because it's a white background from the Twitter's X, Truth Social, whatever we're doing. It's washed out. But here's what Trump, and this is out of nowhere. No, it's not out of nowhere. Trump doesn't like Massey because Massey votes against all of his stuff. He's a little bit Rand Paulish, okay? But like Trump just tweets this out of nowhere, and it's like he doesn't drink. So I can't say like, were you drunk? But I hate this. I hate this. What we were talking about earlier. We're talking about Buc-ee's. I said somebody else I really agree with a lot is doing stuff I don't agree with. This is what I was talking about. Trump tweets, did Thomas Massey, sometimes referred as Rand Paul Jr. because of the fact he always votes against the Republican Party. They're very fiscally conservative, Rand Paul and Thomas Massey. Get married already? 3 question marks. Boy, that was quick! ! No wonder the polls have him at less than an 8% chance of winning the election. Anyway, have a great life, Thomas, and ? His wife will soon find out that she's stuck with a, all caps, loser. First of all, Donald Trump calling about anybody for getting remarried. Shut up. Number 2, his wife died last year.
Yeah.
And like he's saying
it's bad taste
already. Like, I hate this. I hate Trump doing the Marjorie Taylor Greene stuff, but I hate this 10 times more.
Okay. I want to put a positive spin on this, not because I agree with this text, but our truth. Is that what that plus symbol is up there on the right?
Yeah.
Is a red check mark in the truth symbol?
Yeah.
I guess
I
I've
don't
also
know.
never noticed that's his face covered in the American flag.
Yeah.
Never noticed that. I will say we're not getting the mean tweets that we got during the first election.
I mean, this is one.
We're not getting them 3 or 4 times a night
It's
where
not
I'm
as
waking up
much,
and
much
scrolling.
less frequent. And I'm sure, and I hope Susie Wiles had a little talking to with him about this. Mama.
I just think the Twitch said it perfect. Trump should just ignore him.
Well, yeah.
Just ignore it. Let's move on. But like the Epstein stuff just keeps hanging around. And it's like the government shutdown. I'm so tired of talking about it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Either post it or don't.
Yeah.
Either post everything that's available.
Yeah.
And let's move on.
Yeah.
See what's in there and let's move on. Or don't and move on.
Yeah.
Because it's consuming so much of the news media.
Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene have been consistently on it. The Democrats jumped on it this past week because try to gain some stuff back about the shutdown. They lost the shutdown battle, so they've got to jump back on that bandwagon. But like I said, if I never hear that word again, I'll be fine. And I know there's a ton of people who disagree.
In other scandalous news, Zelensky's inner circle is hit with a scandal of $100 million.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to make light of this, but when we talked about the Russia-Ukraine war, the first time we ever talked about it on the podcast, we talked about Ukraine is known for scandals.
Right.
Like it's in the water over there.
So someone sent this to me and I was like, I wish I could say I was surprised.
Yeah, right.
I'm not shocked by this at all.
I've got a short, it's a longer clip. I'm just going to play the first couple of minutes of it that kind of gives just a little background of what it is and what's going on.
So for more on this, I want to bring in Michael Bosserque, who's a global affairs analyst, founder of the World Briefing Report on Substack, and senior fellow at the Atlantic Council. He joins us from Phuket, Thailand. Good to see you again. So you're in Thailand right now, but I mean, you've been reporting from Ukraine throughout this war. You've lived through those blackouts and Russian missiles knocking out power, and now allegations that officials were taking kickbacks on contracts meant to protect that same power infrastructure. I mean, how damaging is this for President Zelensky politically?
Good to be with you again, Kip. Very, very damaging. The rot goes very, very deeply. And, you know, imagine if you're one of my neighbors in Odessa or someone in Kiev or whatever. In Odessa the other day, and it continues into this week, they're getting more hours of the day without power than with, up to 13 and a half hours without power. And although most people, of course, attribute this to those really, really fierce Russian strikes, including ones overnight, as you referred to earlier, now they're beginning to ask, I mean, could our power stations have been protected better if people weren't putting their hands into the honeypot? $100 million siphoned away. This was siphoned away from funds that were supposed to go to protect the infrastructure of power plants, especially nuclear power plants. So a lot of disappointment right across Ukraine. It's absolutely disgusting.
So that's just a little bit of the background. $100 million. I mean, imagine this in Ukraine. Imagine this anywhere. Like you have government officials and people putting their money, putting their hands in the honeypot, as he says, of government money coming over. It's supposed to go to one thing and it just goes to line other people's pockets. Like,
yeah,
I'm not surprised to hear that. My take on this, like I've said, I feel like for the Russia-Ukraine war to end, Zelensky's going to have to step down.
Yes.
I feel like those two guys cannot continue to run their countries and live in peace just because of the what's happened, just because of the history of this war. And Putin's not going anywhere unless he passes away or something. You know, like that's not going to happen. He's not going to step down from power in Russia. So I feel like it has to be Zelensky. Is this the thing that takes him down? Is this the setup?
Maybe.
Like,
I can see a pathway for that at least.
Yeah. Are there machinations behind the scenes where all of this was set up to make Zelensky look bad, where he has to step down, and that can end the war?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's a possibility.
And I'm not shocked by it at all.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be shocked if like Hunter Biden was there too.
But we're not looking at these politicians for moral authority. So.
No, not at all. Not at all. I did see, I want to also, being a current events podcast, you see, I think a lot about like, what do we talk about? What do we not? And I am well aware, I don't know if you are, but what's going on down in Venezuela, they moved the Gerald Ford carrier group down there. There's a lot of pressure on the executive branch to stop the strikes on the boats, which I kind of agree with them doing that right now. I'm open to, I'm not married to that idea or that opinion. But that is definitely something I'm monitoring and like kind of keeping my eye on, because that's a bit, I don't know exactly how many boats and ships are in that carrier group, but there's a lot.
Well, it's our most advanced carrier as well.
Yeah.
And just the aircraft available and the firepower available, not just with the carrier, but with the destroyers. So I kind of like we have this great military, and there's a line in the West Wing, because we haven't talked enough about the West Wing on this episode yet, when they're talking about appropriations, and they say the Democrats want a small military and they want to use it everywhere. The Republicans want a large military and don't want to use it anywhere. I don't think that's very true. But I like Trump taking these military assets, and instead of just sending down either just a CIA or DEA agents to like work covertly,
right?
You know, to try to stop this. It's a very Trump thing, in my opinion, to do, to say like, well, how are they getting the drugs into the country? Well, sir, they're putting them on these speedboats and taking them right across the Gulf and straight up to our country. It's like, oh, we can shoot those things out of the water. You know, like we have an advanced military that can do that. And then putting a carrier group right off the coast of another country to say, hey, take a look off the beach. Here we are. Like, stop. Like he's used military action. It's not just a veiled threat.
Right.
He's shot boats out of the water, and now we have our most advanced carrier off the coast of a country there where these drugs are coming from.
Right.
I like that he's taking it serious. It's not just it's not a traditional military threat.
Right.
But it's still a threat to our population, a very important threat to our population, the flow of drugs into our country.
And it's not, and this also goes back to like what's happening in Mexico City with the palace down there, and the cartels and things like that. And I'm not going to even begin to try to think that I understand that as far as like the complexities of all the different factions down there. But it's interesting to watch. And you can't help but wonder if closing our border, just closing it, has had a dramatic effect on all Latin American countries.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to watch, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So anything going this week? Preparing for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, pretty much. Last week of school for the kids before we're out for Thanksgiving. Man, the dadgum. Last week when we started recording, I told you before we started, I'm like, I didn't turn the heat on in here. I think we're okay. And we were. But it was nice and chilly in here. Well, it's like 80-something degrees outside.
It was hot
now.
today. It was hot today.
Yeah, I know. In the middle of November. So that's what Texas is like if you don't live in our state. It was 30, wind chills down to the teens when we recorded last week. And
I thought it was going to be the toboggan weather.
We would be sweating right now if I didn't have the AC on in the garage. So, that's Texas. But I the weather kind of ruined it for me a little bit. That's why I brought this up. Like this time of year, when you get to like the week or two out from Thanksgiving break, I really like getting in the mood. Like I have this tunnel over our sidewalk that has LED lights on it, and it starts with Halloween, and then I turn it into a Christmas tunnel. And like Saturday, I was putting some Christmas garland on it, and I'm like, I'm sweating. And I'm like, you should not be sweating putting up Christmas decorations.
Right.
It kind of ruins the vibe a little bit. But I enjoy this time of year. We had, this past weekend, we had a lunch for my brother-in-law's birthday. Happy birthday, CJ. Then we had end-of-year soccer barbecue. So, and then that same day, this is all yesterday, we had a Friendsgiving here in our neighborhood. And then today after church, we had another Friendsgiving with another group. And so we've started the holiday eating already. But I just want it to cool back down so I can feel a little bit more in the mood in my holiday vibe. So, yeah,
I think we're going to go out. We're going out of town for Thanksgiving, so we're going to travel a little bit.
Yeah.
Get some time away with the family a little bit. I'm excited about it.
Those are good times. We're actually talking about doing that at the beginning of the week.
Gotcha.
And I was just thinking about I really enjoy that time. Like when we travel, we do our road trips or just on vacation. This is going to sound so dad, but one of the things I enjoy so much is just like in the Airbnb or wherever we are, just sitting down at the table in the kitchen with like a board game or something.
Right.
Like our kids, our older kids especially, love playing Phase 10, which is such a long game.
Right.
And it's fun. You know, like you're there until midnight with your kids and never stay up that late. But
right.
You're there till midnight with some popcorn, and like I love those times. Like the going to see things is fun, but I feel like I enjoy the getting back to the Airbnb and cooking some dinner and like having a game night.
Yeah.
More so than the things we actually go see when we go on vacation.
We're going to go down to San Antonio. Have you ever been to the River Walk Lights Parade?
No.
So it's on the Riverwalk. We went a couple years ago. We're going to go again this year. It's always on Friday after Thanksgiving, so we're going to go see that. I'm excited.
I thought you were about to ask me if you've ever been to the Riverwalk, and I'm like,
no. The Lights Parade.
Ask a Texan.
I know
Ask
you've
a
been
Texan
there.
if they've ever been to the Riverwalk.
But all right, man.
All right.
Have a great week.
See you.